I want to start off with you, Mr. Heyer. The first question we have for you is, tell us a little bit about your background and how because you've been involved in this for a while, and tell us how you came to have a ministry helping others, and give us a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, I have been around a while. I've been, I started out as a 4-year-old cross-dressing, and next month I'll be 80. So that's over 75 years I've been around it, and to some level dealing with this issue. And and the topic is a great topic here, the truth about transgenderism. It couldn't be any better. The truth is that we are made fixed at conception, and it's unchangeable, period. You're a man, you're a woman, there's only two genders. And Jesus Christ and the Lord God is the only one that makes genders. Surgeons, doctors, and ideology does not. So that is really the core of the truth. And to further support that is I have a document, because I went through this, as you mentioned, and when I went through this transition, the doctor told me that I needed to resolve my early childhood issues from cross-dressing. My grandmother cross-dressed me at the age of 4. And she affirmed me, told me how cute I was, how wonderful I was. She had made a purple dress for me. She, all that affirmation, we hear that a lot, how powerful affirmation is. Well, who doesn't want to be affirmed? I mean, being affirmed is sort of addictive. But one thing that happens to young people who don't have any idea about the word consequences, because they don't understand the long-term effects. And I'm sitting here 76 years later talking about the effects. So you can see there are long-term effects. And I believe the Lord has actually redeemed and restored my life so I can speak to you in truth about what this is. But what happens when you start affirming a young boy as a girl at the very same time? Listen, you're telling the boy there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with you as a boy. Now, how abusive is that? I look back and realize that is child abuse. And it needs to be defined and talked about as child abuse. It's emotional child abuse. It's psychological child abuse. And in some cases, it becomes sexual child abuse. Because my grandmother put me in a purple dress and affirmed me, my uncle found out about it, and he thought I was fair game to be sexually molested. Had it not been for the cross-dressing, I never would have been sexually molested. Consequences. Please use that word. The consequences that we see today is our churches are being overrun by this issue, and many of them don't really know how to deal with it, because now they're putting some of the people who identify as females in the pulpit. They're still men. Nothing's changed. This document that I have in my hand, after I went through this, I challenged the doctor who approved me for reassignment surgery and the surgeon who did the surgery. I wanted to detransition. I wanted them to come to court in California and prove to the court that hormones and surgery can change a man into a woman. I've got a copy of the document. The doctor says no. The surgeon says no. No one can change from a female to a male or a male to a female. You need to know that. I'm going to give you this document so you've got it if anybody wants it. This came at the California court. The most they can accomplish is called neutering. It's what they do to dogs and cats. I want to read through I want to read through what they say here. After the surgery, the surgeon and the doctor said, your genetic sex, this is after hormones, after surgery, years after. This is on many years of hormones. You're still a male. That's in the court document. Hormonal sex is neutered, not changed, neutered. Internal morphology, which is what you really are, male, didn't change. External morphology, the hormones made me look a little different. They said it's mixed. You look a little like both. Gonadal sex, neutered, not changed. Social sex is male because that's what you identify with. So the terms that we're using, transition and transgender, are false. Yeah. Nobody transitions. Nobody. We need to drive this point home. When we talk about getting active and making a difference, we need people to understand nobody's changed. Jenner is still a guy. Anybody who goes through this process like I did needs to understand that all you are is a masquerade, or you're a feminized man, or you're a masculinized woman. That's the truth. And the other truth is, in an article that I wrote sometime back, 2016, about two doctors in 1979. One of them was Dr. Charles L. Ihlenfeld, who ran a gender clinic in New York, had worked there for 6 years administering hormone therapy to 500 people who had gone through this. And at the end of that 6 years, he was speaking kind of like I am to a group of therapists, and he said, I'm leaving the practice of giving hormones to this group, this 1979, because it's causing too much unhappiness and is causing too many to end in suicides. 1979. And at the same time, Dr. Paul McHugh was echoing the same thing. In 1979, the gender clinics were starting to close, and they should have stayed closed. They never should open again. They had no right. They had no reason. They had no evidence. They had no reason whatsoever to start cutting genitalia off and carving up people and so that they can identify as a different person. It's a crime.
Well, I think